When we broke, I said I needed a little time. What I meant was, I wasn't leaving. I'm Marisol. Mexican-American, 30, hairstylist with a side hustle making brides look like their Pinterest boards. My ex, Tyler, is 33, project estimator who loves spreadsheets more than birthdays. We met in a line for tacos and moved in before our lease terms had even caught up with our toothbrushes. The apartment. Sunny, 3rd floor, squeaky floorboard near the couch. Was in his name. I paid half the rent, Venmo with little heart emojis I thought counted as paperwork. We bought a rug together. I told myself rugs are basically equity. 2 years later, we were ruined by the boring things. My late payments, his early mornings, me flirting for tips. It's called client rapport. He called it disrespect. Him saying, we'll talk about it on Saturday, to everything that made me feel like a pot on the back burner. Then there was Marco. The just a friend who got promoted to I shouldn't have to explain my texts in one night. The next morning, Tyler said the line decent men say when they're done being the villain in your head. I don't think we make each other better. He packed quietly. I cried loudly. He said I could stay 2 weeks, to figure out where you want to land. I heard. He won't really make me leave. I am very skilled at hearing what I want. 2 weeks became 23 days. He emailed me, not texted. Emailed like a person building a file. A 30-day notice to quit. Clean, boring, respectful. Stating I was an unauthorized occupant, since I wasn't on the lease. I rolled my eyes and started a fight about tone. He replied with bullet points and dates. He CC'd himself like the message also needed to see it. On day 31, I said I needed until the end of the month. He said the notice period was over. The next afternoon, a man taped a paper to our door that said unlawful detainer summons at the top. If you've never had your name printed under that phrase, imagine your stomach turning into a plastic bag. What is this? I asked, holding up the paper like it might legally dissolve if I shook it enough. It's the eviction case, Tyler said evenly. I filed because you didn't move out. The court sets a hearing. You can respond. You can't evict me, I snapped. We lived together 2 years. You can respond, he repeated, not rising to my bait. But I can't lock you out, and I can't keep living like roommates after we broke up. So I'm doing it the legal way. I Googled until my thumbs hurt. Self-help eviction illegal. Notice to quit. Unlawful detainer. Service by posting and mail if occupant avoids service. Hearing. Judgment. Writ of possession. Sheriff's lockout. The words lined up like dominoes that all fell toward the door. I didn't file a response in time, because denial is a busy job. A week later, Tyler told me there was a default judgment for possession. He didn't sound smug, he sounded exhausted. The writ of possession is being issued, he said. That means the sheriff will post a notice to vacate. Usually 5 days. After that, lockout. I said the ugliest sentence I own. You wouldn't. He looked at me. Really looked, like a person who knows the exact number of mugs in the cabinet, because he bought them. I wouldn't change the locks on you illegally, he said. I won't be your bad guy. But I'm not living like this anymore. On Tuesday, a uniformed deputy posted a 5-day notice on our door. The paper fluttered whenever the AC kicked on. The deputy was professional and kind, which made it worse. Ma'am, she said, this is notice of a scheduled lockout. Please remove your belongings before the date. On that day, a deputy and a locksmith will be present. You'll have a limited time to gather essentials. I texted my sister a photo of the notice. She called me stubborn, like it was my astrological sign. I texted Marco that I might need to crash at his place for a few days. He read and didn't answer for 6 hours, then sent a shrug emoji. That was the first time he looked small to me. The night before lockout, I staged a last stand. Candles, a speech, a playlist you make when you're 22, not 30. Tyler listened like a man at a very calm fire drill. You can keep the blue rug, he said, which made me furious because it was both kind and not the point. The morning of, I was still in pajamas when the deputy knocked exactly at 9 a.m. With a locksmith in tow. Good morning, she said like we were about to have coffee, not consequences. She verified IDs, checked the writ, and explained the process. I'd have 15 minutes to gather medication, documents, and a bag of essentials. Larger items could be scheduled for pickup within storage rules. State law requires certain handling of abandoned property. We'll keep the peace, she said. No yelling, no touching, no games. I packed like a person choosing which parts of herself are allowed to exist without furniture. Passport, license, social card, makeup case, curling iron, muscle memory. The photo booth strip of us that hurt to touch. A small plant I later forgot on the counter. The deputy was gentle but timed it. When I cried, she said, I know. She has the saddest job in the building. Tyler had a locksmith ready because of course he did. The man replaced the cylinder with the efficiency of someone who puts endings on doors every day. Tyler had 2 boxes labeled Marisol. Closet and Marisol. Bath already set aside because he doesn't wait for chaos to sort itself. He'd taken photos of the apartment at 8:45 a.m. to document condition because security deposits are civil wars people fight with screenshots. Do you want me to put some stuff in storage for 15 days? He asked. I's not unkind, I's not anything. The notice spells out the process. I'll follow it. He had printed the statute about handling belongings and highlighted the parts that mattered. He is the sort of man who never underlines feelings, only clauses. I asked the deputy if we could talk for a second, and she said, You have 3 minutes, which is a lifetime when you're begging and a blink when you're too late. I told Tyler this was cruel. He told me it was boring. That word should not be devastating. It was. This is the boring legal way to end a thing, he said. I'm not going to be the guy who changes locks at midnight. I'm going to do it with a deputy at 9 a.m. This is me being kind in a system that isn't. On the landing, our neighbor Mr. Leon gave me a sympathetic nod that tasted like shame. I carried my duffel down 3 flights like I was evacuating my idea of myself. The deputy handed me a paper with the storage address and a contact number. Call to schedule pickup, she said. If you don't within the time frame, the landlord can dispose per statute. If you ever want to learn what your life is worth, read it in a bulleted list. When the door shut, I heard the new lock click and my throat made a little animal noise. Tyler slid my spare key into a small ceramic dish we bought at a street fair, and I wanted to throw that dish into the sun. I walked to the curb and sat on my suitcase, and realized I had assumed I could stall the legal system with feelings. Feelings are not injunctions. I went to my sister's. She put me on the couch and handed me a glass of water like a triage nurse. You wanted to win with a scene, she said. He won with a form. I hated how right she was. Then I called the storage number because dignity looks like dialing anyway. 2 days later, I returned with my cousin's pickup. Tyler had labeled a few larger boxes. Marisol. Kitchen Marisol. Miscellaneous. And set them near the unit door. He wasn't present. The building manager was, holding a clipboard like a referee who never wanted this job. We did the release. I signed where it said received. There was a line about the 15-day period. I initialed. What I wanted to do was post a carousel about men who weaponize paperwork. What I did was call a therapist and say, I need help breaking up with my worst ideas. She asked what those were. I said, that living together without a lease makes me a tenant with magic rights. That rugs are equity. We wrote the words notice, response, writ, lockout on a sheet of paper, and I traced them until the panic cooled. I texted Marco I'm out. And he wrote back damn, sorry like a stranger. Tyler texted a week later, your plant is still here. Do you want it? I almost wrote it's yours. You earned it but that's not how plants or people work. I picked it up at noon when he wouldn't be there. It was alive because he had watered it anyway. He wins if you need the scoreboard. He didn't shout, he didn't shove, he didn't change the locks illegally, he didn't make me a story for the group chat. He served notice, filed the case, got the judgment, scheduled the sheriff, followed the storage law, documented the condition, and let a locksmith put a period at the end of our sentence. He kept his deposit and his peace. He also kept his face. The one you can look at in the mirror without flinching. I'm looking for a studio now with my own name on the lease, and when the landlord handed me the application, I wanted to cry from relief at the boxes where my initials belong. I'm buying a cheap rug with my own card. It's not blue. it's mine. I told my clients this week that boring is the new romantic. They laugh like it was a joke. I used to think chaos was proof of passion. Now I think keys are. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. She refused to move out after a breakup. He handled it by the book. Notice to quit, unlawful detainer, court judgment, writ of possession, sheriff's lockout, legal storage. No drama, just process. Lesson. Feelings aren't legal rights. The boring path protects your sanity and your deposit. If you like this video, please subscribe for more. Thanks and see y'all tomorrow.